Hi, I'm Paul from Garage Master Online Limited, and this is the Garage Master Online Standard and Pro system, and I'm going to demonstrate it for you right now. It runs in a web browser. You can have as many users as you like per your membership. So if you've got a garage with 2 users, that's fine. If you've got a garage with 1 user or 5 users, we're not really bothered. If you've got a garage with 2 tablets, it's fine. You don't pay any extra, you just pay the standard fee. You can cancel any time. There's no contract. So moving swiftly on, so I'm just going to log in straight away to this demo account. So all the data in here is demonstration data, apart from some of the vehicles are actually real. I'm going to take you from the top. So the first thing you're going to do if you're starting out is just to use the setup system, and it's really easy. There's a help system with lots of videos, but we're going to just start with the setup system. So the first thing you're going to do is set your settings up. And this is where I demonstrate how to use the system. It's pretty simple. So you've got an edit button just here, and you've got save and new, save and edit, save and return and return. So let's start with return. So if you hit return, it just takes you back to the list. If you edit and do save and return, it saves the record and goes back to the list. If you do edit, save and edit, it saves the record and stays here. So for instance, if I said I lived at the street, do save and edit, you see it saves it and then it comes back here. If I do save and new, it saves this record and creates a new one. So in this list actually you can just double click on it and edit it. That's not true for all of them, but for this one you can edit it. So the first thing to do is to set up everything. If you're VAT registered, you need to set VAT registered for invoice to 20. If you're not, you just set it to 0. It's fine, easy to do. Everything else is pretty simple. If you want to change the invoice number you want to start with, you can set it to 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever you want to start with, and you can go from there. So having done that, having done your settings, we're then going to move on to sales categories, and you can just enter a number of sales categories. So for instance, you might want to enter sales categories for stationery if you start selling pens, which you won't, but it's just used in the reporting section. Just quickly dive into there to calculate your costs and sales via a category. Okay, this is a very nice reporting section. We'll come to that a little bit later. So having done sales categories, you do supplier and expensive categories. So this could be things like your rent, stationery, supplier purchases, lots of things in there, but you can add your own obviously. These are just things you want to categorise your supplier purchases by, or your expenses, which we'll deal with slightly later. Moving next thing you do is set up your logo. You can see I just moved down the list. So the first thing you do, you'll see the Garage Master logo in there when you log in. Hit edit and then just do add image, and it will replace that image with your image. And then when you've done that, just grab some water. When you've done that, just hit return and go to dashboard, and you'll see that your logo will appear instead of the Garage Master Online logo. So having done that one, we're going to move on to staff. Obviously just add your staff in, pretty simple. Jane 12345 mobile, wherever you like, Jane at jane.com, just making this stuff up, John, whatever you like. Save and return. Very simple, but you can use this in your invoicing. You can actually invoice and tell which member of staff did the job. So if there's an issue in the future, you can come back to it. So that's payment methods. Comes with a number of payment methods in there. You can obviously add your own. VHC sheet setup is for VHC sheets. I don't know if you know what that is. Some garages don't really use them, but if I just quickly nip into one. I've got quite a few in this system because there's been a lot of testing on it. VHC sheets, here we go. Go to vehicle and go to VHC sheets, and I'll just quickly produce one for you, and you can see it's a very simple. This is just a very basic one, but it comes with a much bigger one. So if I go to where were we? Oh yes, okay, so back here, right. So if I go to back into setup, VHC test sheets, you'll see it comes with. You'll see that yours will come with a standard one, and that includes all these things. This is a pretty industry standard spreadsheet, VHC sheet, sorry, and it comes with. So there's the category. The category is description standard, that brake checks, and here's a list of all the brake checks, and it comes with that pre-done, so you've already got one straight away you can use. It's quite a useful thing to print for the client. If you want to do a thorough check of their vehicle. Users allows you to set up sub-users for your system. So Mike and James here. So if I log out, you enter your normal master email, and then you enter Mike's username and password, and he can log into his own system. And you can limit what they can do within the user section. So you can allow admin, allow reports. Parts. So let's go and set some suppliers up. So we've got some suppliers set up here. Let's set up a new one. Chuck's Auto Parts. I'm just making this up. And then within the system, you can see. I don't think there's any. There's one in the States. Parts. Chuck's Used Auto Parts. Okay, I'm just going to use that for now. Obviously, that's an American address, but it's got all the UK. It's all got the UK addresses for the whole of the UK in there, and also of the foreign ones, which are quite useful if you've got a foreign supplier for something. Which some parts obviously do have to come from abroad for rarer vehicles, but we'll come back to that just a little bit later. Anyway, so set up. So we've set up our suppliers. Let's go into our parts. Now you see I've got a simple kind of parts list here, and I've got some standard things in it. You need to set up the labour part, okay, with your standard labour rate. Okay, now I'll go into that and have a look at it. It's got -1 on alert low stock. You can see there's a little question mark. That tells you what that does. Okay, so we want -1 because there's an endless supply of labour technically. But this one's slightly different. So I've got oil, and you can see I've got a litre of oil. So if I buy a barrel of oil, I've got 108 litres, which means I've probably got just over 1 barrel of oil. Let's say if there's 100 litres in a barrel of oil. So let's say, and you see I said alert close stock and -1 ignore. So if -1 is in this box, it ignores it. But in this case, I've got 10 litres. So I want to know when I go to 10 litres so I can order some more. So let's just con the system a little bit. Let's say we've only got 8 litres there. You hit save and return, you see it goes kind of this pinky red salmon colour. If I go to dashboard, a little message will come up and remind me that I'm 8 litres left. So as you're invoicing, it'll automatically deduct the oil from the oil barrel in your system, which means that you'll know, unlike before, where what normally happens is somebody comes in from the workshop and goes, we've run out of oil in a barrel, and you're thinking, how do we know we're running out of oil? So you might have had a sheet where you deduct it. Well, it's automatically done in GarageMaster Online when you invoice someone for some oil. So let's set this back up to, let's say we've got a brand new barrel, but it's only 100 litres, but it's a little barrel. 100 litres of oil. So now it should, see it's gone white, and if I go back to dashboard, I no longer get that little message there. Okay, so that's the parts section. That's quite easy to do. Now I'm going to show you some quick lookup things. So this quick quote, hit quote there, put £100 in, cost, and if you say you want to calculate 30% profit uplift on that £100 profit, it'll work it out automatically. It'll even do a discount. So you could do a little quick quote for a customer. Then I've got the parts section. This is just a display of your parts database and a little pop-up. I've got vehicle lookup, so I can look up anything I like in here, hit go. This is the standard version, comes with the system, got some details there. V5C, it's also got the MOT expiry date. If I click MOT history, it gives me the MOT history of the vehicle since it was actually built, which is really useful if you want to do some extra work, because you can look at the advisories from last MOT and say to them, look, you had this on your last MOT, shall we do that? Tyre size and pressures is all there. Okay, that's part of your standard system. And then we've got suppliers, customers, expenses, etc. So we'll carry on with those in just a second. So we've done setup, we've gone through these 3 here, and now I'm going to move on to the easiest way to enter data into this system. Okay, now it's real quick. So let's go to here. I'm going to pick a date, 18th, and I can either search for a customer or add new. Now you can do this through customers. You know, do it all manually if you want. Let's say I'm going to book them in at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I know some garages, you only have 2 vehicles a day, so you don't really care when they come in. But MOT stations, sometimes they can be doing 12 to 15 a day, so they do need to know when they're going to come in. So anyway, I'm going to put one that I've already got, Mike Milk Floats, and I'm going to go next, on there. I've set the booking in time at 10 o'clock. Just having a little problem with this machine here. Let's just sort that out. I've got a brand new machine, it's not quite configured right. So Mike Milk Floats, and I click on there, click next, there we are. And it lists his vehicles, there he is AP14 PVE, but in this case I'm going to add a new one, and I'm going to put in this old Land Rover, and the work to be completed is going to be simply we're going to fix the wing mirror because it's broken. Alright, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, hit save, and you say entry inserted, and if you come back here then you'll see Mike Milk Floats, where is it? There it is. There's my new thing, and you'll see there's 3 little buttons there. If you're a mobile mechanic, this is really useful on your mobile phone. You can just hit the M button and it'll automatically take you to Google Maps, and this is it is actual place, and then you can do directions, and actually in fact I made up this address, so that's why it's not finding it. So then you can do directions and get directions to that place. So it's really useful if you're out on the road. You can just go straight from your diary into Google Maps and get that information straight away. Now I can go to customer, so let's find the entry. Where was it? Yes, it is that one, isn't it? C for customer. So Mike Milk Floats, there's his details. Here's all the information. There's that Land Rover I just added, and you see that just from the registration the system has got all this information. It collects it from 2 or 3 different data sources which we pay for getting the data out of them, but it saves you entering any of it. MOT dates are updated overnight, every single night, so you've always got the latest information. Save and return. So I'm going to go back to my dashboard again. Now I'll show you some of the other buttons. So we did M for map, and the last thing we've got is this little pound sign, and if I click on that it'll take me to an invoice. It will create an invoice for me. I can just hit add like this and put labour in here, for instance. You see I've got a part called labour. Automatically completed the selling price. Let's say I did 3 hours. Save and return, and it's given me the profit 150 quid. Let's add a part in there, a brake. Oh no, it was a wing mirror we were going to do, wasn't it? Wing mirror. Let's say it was a really expensive one, but we're going to say we've got it from Chuck's Auto Parts. Remember that new one we set up. A12345 is the supplier invoice number. You don't have to put this in right now, you can put it in later on, or you can leave it out and add the supplier invoices manually. Let's say it cost me 139 because it's one of those really expensive electric ones. Now if I do save and edit here, it'll calculate the price. Let's say I want to make 30% on that. Save and edit again, and you can see what it's done is it's calculated the 30% uplift gives me 216.84. Let's say I want to override that price, to 299. I can do that, save and edit again, and you can see it's now £299, which makes a profit of 132.20. I'll put it into parts as a sales category, and Jane did the work. She did a lovely job of that. Description of work completed. Replace wing mirror. So it's quite comprehensive. You can use as much or as little as you want. Save and return. Okay. You can use as much or as little as you can want. You can just completely ignore bits of it if you want. It'll kind of keep you on track. Excuse me, just drinking some water because obviously I'm going to be talking for quite a long time. Now you can see for this job I've got £449 line total and profits 282.20. So now I've created the invoice. Let's go save and return, and I can click. Where is it? That's the top one there. Okay. Now I click print. I could do an estimate with it. Let's do print invoice, and this gives me some more options. So I can either just click print to print the thing, and you want to go in here and set make sure. So more settings, go headers and footers are off and background graphics is on. Then you get the nice stuff. These 2 bits of text are in your settings. You can see it includes a lot of information: the VIN, the model, the mileage. I didn't put any mileage in, but if it had the mileage, it's got everything in there about this ready for the customer. You can also email the customer the link, so you copy this link and pop it in an email, or you can actually right click, copy this image and send it in an email as well, and that's a QR code to their invoice, and then they can get their invoice. So you can either copy it through an email. Now if I hit back, it should take me back to my invoices. So that's this one. Now let's say the customer's paid the invoice, £449. So I'm just going to, they paid by cheque, which is unusual because nobody does that anymore, and it was on the 19th. Paid, save and edit. Now watch what happens. You can see that it's paid, put a payment into there for £449. Let's say they only paid me £200, or let's call it 149. So I'm going to go to edit, and I'm going to go to, I know you might see me clicking on things and it not happening. That's because I've got on this really big new laptop that I've got, and I click on the wrong mouse button all the time. So I'm going to set that to save and return, and that's only they've only paid £200 out of the £449. So if I do save and return now, you'll see that the paid invoices here, okay, are green, unpaid invoices are white, part paid invoices are orange, and if it's overpaid, it goes red. Okay, so in this case, so they're short now. So let's go back into here and complete them by adding another payment. Let's say made payment another day. So they owe us £249. And they paid this time by credit card. So let's go and set that down, save and return. And you can see I've got my 2 payments in. And when I do save and return now, of course, it's green, because it's all correct. So that's really how simple it is to run your business on it. You can manage your diary. You've got the link through now. If I go back to here and I click on £sign now, it'll take me to that invoice, and you can see it's all set up. So it's really powerful way of running your business. And if you're the sort of garage, I know there are garages out there, you know who you are. You've got a little black book, and you write the calendar entry in, or you write in that Mrs. Jones is coming on Tuesday, and sometimes they forget, or somebody forgets to write it in, and suddenly this person turns up with a car and you weren't expecting it, and you will look a bit silly, or you don't know who's done what. Whereas with this, everything's in there, and you can see very, very quickly what's going on with the vehicle. So let's do a VHC sheet entry. So this is slightly different. I'm just going to grab some water. Okay, so let's go to a different date, add a new diary entry. So we're going to create a new customer. Jenny, let's call her, I don't know, what should we call it? Tom's Traction Engines. I love traction engines. Okay, they're going to be in Somerset somewhere, aren't they? Big Weaver broke. Oh no, that's in America. So let's choose something in Somerset. Somerset House. So they're actually at Somerset House in London. Okay, that'll do. Now I'm going to put an invalid one. Okay, now you see nothing's come up. That's because it's an invalid entry. And there we go. That's a valid one. So if it's an invalid thing, it just won't come up with the MOT expiration on it. Replace flywheel. This time I'm going to have I've got some options here. I'm going to have a standard VHC sheet, and I'm going to do save and close. So that's booked in to come in. Please set the booking time. Oh, let's forget that. 1 o'clock. Save and close. Entry inserted. Okay. Now, so if I go down here, Tom's Traction Engines, there he is. Now you see that instead of a £sign, it's got a V for VHC sheet. So because we're going to invoice through that, there's my VHC sheet. Okay. So this is actually a Ford Transit van. There's my VHC sheet. I'm just going to quickly go through this now. So what you can do here is you can either go to return, and you can either print the VHC sheet straight away, like this. You can see it's pretty full and pretty comprehensive. It's actually quite an industry standard one. Comes with the system, or you can set your own ones up. I'm going to edit that now. So if you want to, you can then edit, let's say brake checks, brake fluid low. So let's go into here, and if I go up here, sorry about that, let's say red, brake fluid replace. This is just a note. If you used any parts, the price of those. Don't have to put that in there. I tend not to. I tend to put it on the invoice. Let's say it took me 2 hours to sort it out. It was a complete mess. Save and edit. Let's do save and return. Now if I scroll down the page, you'll see there's that entry, okay, that I made. Let's choose something else. Let's say they've got a coolant leak. Oil coolant leak, red. Coolant leaking, replace pipe. Let's say replace a little pipe. That took me another 2 hours. Save and return. And you'll see I've got a couple of entries there, and you only have to fill in the ones that you actually do. So I'm going to do save and return on that VHC sheet, and now here it is. You can see it's in white, and it says there's the work date, so it's linked to the diary entry. So what I'm going to do is drink a bit more water, excuse me about, is I'm going to turn this into an invoice. So I go to to invoice, and you can see it's automatically created a VHC sheet, or 2 entries on the invoice for those 2 jobs that I did on the VHC sheet. Okay, automatically created. You might not even need to do any more. Okay, so it's filled them in, and it's done it from the VHC sheet. How powerful is that? Now remember, you can set up your own. You could have a service VHC sheet, or you could have a mini service VHC sheet, and automatically complete those things. So for bigger garages especially, it's really useful. Let's do save and return. So there's my invoice. Let's do a print invoice, ready for the customer. There it is, all done. And you can see I've done very much. This system is designed to be really efficient and to do a lot of things automatically. That's why it has so many connections to outside databases to get data on vehicles, so you don't have to enter it, you don't have to look at it, you don't have to try and remember the VIN, because it's automatic. So let's go mark this as paid. Actually, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Rather than mark this as paid in here, I'm just going to do return. I'm just going to do return, because what I want to show you is a couple of other screens. So this customer is Tom's Traction Engine, so you can do batch payment like this. Particularly useful if you're using account customers. Tom's Traction Engines, there it is. You just click on this like this, and it comes up with it, and you can mark it as paid in here. One of my favourite screens is this one, batch payment like this. It shows you all your invoices, and so it shows the unpaid ones first. So there's Tom's Traction Engines. Now what I can do here is I could just click on this and then go mark it as paid, save and return, and you can see it's marked it as paid. If I go into the invoice, you can see it's just that's the wrong one. Hang on, where is it gone? Tom's Traction Engines, I'll tell you what, we'll just do it by work date. You can see I can change the sort by just doing that. There he is, Tom's Traction Engines. I went a bit crazy. So there, it's done the payment for me. Everything's done. Very, very simple. So you can do it like that. Now, how do you set up an account customer? Really, really easy. Just edit your customer. Click on account customer and do save and return. And you'll see then there's a facility for producing a statement, which basically is, there aren't any unpaid invoices on that one, but it gives them the unpaid invoices very simply and very quickly from the system. So that's for doing your account customers. You've got the map facility. For instance, this one here takes you to the map, which is in fact got quite a few options for that postcode. But you know, that shows you how that works. For most of your customers, obviously you'll have some detail. So that's the invoicing. You've also got the facility to view it via vehicles, which is very useful. You can hit the search button, look it up by registration. Obviously, because this is a demo account, I've used the same vehicle on lots of customers. Excuse me. And it allows you to go in just in a slightly different way to view the data. So I'm going to put view by customer. So that's really the customer section. So the main way of operating this is basically by doing diary entries. Okay, now also on the dashboard we've got a few different options. We've got a normal diary entry here, which is showing the diary entries there. We've got work in progress. These are outstanding invoices, basically shows you any jobs you've got on. Servicing, this shows you the expiring MOTs and things like that, which is quite useful. Suppliers is just a supply list if you need to call them. Okay, so let's go through some other things on here. Expenses. This is just where you add your expenses. It's very simple. So these are things that, you know, might be rent, something like that, £400 a month, and rent, there you go. Date of expense today, and you can add image, and I just think I've probably got some pictures lying around. I don't know what this is. Business excellence. Oh yes, that's very exciting. We've been nominated for that. Save and return. But you could use a you could upload a receipt or an invoice or whatever you like on here. So that's really for that. And then we've got the suppliers. Now remember what I said about suppliers is that it automatically creates the supplier invoice. Oh, don't want to remove him. No, let's go and have edit that one here. Go to supplier invoice and purchase orders, and you can see here. There's that. Remember, we created when we were doing that invoice. I entered the detail of those parts of that part. It's automatically created. There's the wing mirror. Remember, I entered that on the invoice, on the customer invoice. It's automatically entered it 1015 and created a supplier invoice for this and put the money in. All done automatically, and the beauty of that is that you don't have to enter anything twice. Everything's in the right place. You can manually enter them here, of course. I could still enter tyres. I don't know, £220. That's 4 of those. Save and return. I can still add it up like that if I want to. I can still add things to this invoice, but basically it means you can build your supplier invoicings without building a supplier invoice, because you've done it all in the customer invoice. Just picked anyone. So let's pick this one for instance. Yeah, so in here, if I was to add another part in there, like here, it's description, wheel rims, supplier is Chuck's Auto Parts again. Let's make up a new invoice number, B12345. Supplier expense category parts, and let's say it cost me 80 quid. Save and edit. Remember what I said about uplifts? Let's just do a 30% uplift. That's quick enough. And I've got 4 of them. I'm not going to bother with anything else, but I can choose a start. Paul did that. Save and edit, so that the record's there. Save and return. And so if I now go into Chuck's Auto Parts, let's do save and return on that. If I go to customers, and you see actually, because I added to that invoice after it's done, it's gone orange because I've added something to it. But if I go to suppliers, go back to Chuck's Auto Parts, let's go and see that new invoice. I think it was at the top one. Let's see. No, that's the other one. Return. It's this one. There you go. There's the wheel rims. So you can see it's really neat, and the way it works, it flows in the same way your business works. So that's your expenses, suppliers, customers. Let's look at reporting very quickly. It gives you it works for the current accounting year, and it gives you a breakdown that you can see instantly. So this business has only been going since October, this demo account. It shows me what my sales are, what my purchases are, what my expenses are. It doesn't include unpaid invoices. You've got all kinds of things like payment summary tool. It shows you per month. Is it per month? Yeah, per month and year. Your invoices. You can see I've got quite a few part payments where they haven't paid enough, and totals it up for you, which is quite useful. That's reporting. It's got lots of export functions. You can download suppliers, customers, supplier invoice, customers invoices, expenses, an invoice summary. Then you've got your invoice summary tool. This is quite useful if you want to find out how much labour you're doing. For instance, you can just go search, put in labour in here, and it shows you roughly how much you're doing in labour. Pretty useful. Go back to reporting again. You've also got a full chart of accounts here, sales, purchases, expenses, and it will give you a really detailed breakdown of your accounting. If your accountant comes along and goes, oh no, I can't use that, I need this, tell us what they need, we'll build it for you. Alright, because normally it's just they want the data presented in a different way. We are working on interfaces into different things, but of course you can download it all into Excel anyway and import it into most accounting systems. Excuse me. Let's have a little drink. So that's the reporting side of it. So that's really everything that's in the basic standard version. It's not a basic version, as you can see. It's very sophisticated, but it's very easy to use. You just work through the diary and everything kind of comes off of that. Now, if you've gone, that's the standard version. The standard version is $29.99 a month for all that, and I think you'll agree it's amazing value. The workshop, the full version, which is the pro version, is $99.99 a month. It includes everything in the standard version, but also includes the workshop function, where you could go in here. It brings up, hit select, it brings up the vehicle. Here's your vehicle records. Let's go into some of these. You've got different things. Repair times. Excuse me. And what you can do is actually, let's just quickly, let's say we want to do that. And what I can do is, if I hit vehicle again, you can bring up a sheet. I can bring up the actual vehicle record, and I can just copy and paste things, including diagrams, straight into the work record. Paste. Just Control V it. Control V, there it is. Okay, so it's done that, and you can actually paste in diagrams as well. So let's just quickly save and return. Drawings. Copy that image. Copy image, and if I go into, then I go to vehicle, I edit the vehicle. You'll only have one of those there, not three. It's only because and I can just paste that in there. So you've actually got that now in the vehicle record. So that's really useful. So that's the Pro version, which gives you the full Haynes Pro. There's another one. Now the beauty of this, of course, is it is completely built into the system. So if you've got the Pro version and you're nipping in here and you're looking at a vehicle, you can just click Workshop and it will take you straight through to that vehicle. We are looking at further integrations with that and integrating work times directly into invoices and things like that. But that's in the air at the moment, as we're doing some difficulties in interfacing. So one more thing that you get in the standard version, of course, is your own website, and you can there's some actual videos on how to set this up. So if I go to this link, it will show me what my website looks like. It's a very simple website, but if you don't have your own website, it's built into the system. It's free with the system. So I think that's it. There's lots of help. If you want to leave a review on Trustpilot, we'd really appreciate it. There's a user group. We have a support chat, which you can chat to us directly on, and we try and deal with things really quickly. We don't use bots, so sometimes you might not get through straight away. So sorry about that. So that's basically it. This is Garage Master Online Standard and Pro. If there's something you need that isn't there, please get in touch and talk to us about it, because we might be developing it already. This system's been going for about 5 years, but it's been only on the market since last year. Was it this year? So since about mid this year, because it was being developed with a business, with a garage. So it's used by all kinds of different mechanic businesses, from one-man band, mobile mechanics, right up to the full MOT stations and everything in between. Hope that's useful. If you've got any questions, please use the online chat. You can get to that through the website at garagemasteronline.com. Prices are $29.99 a month for the standard version, or $99.99 a month for the Pro version with all the vehicle data. So if you get the standard version, you'll just see an upgrade there and you won't see the workshop function. I hope that's useful. Again, if you've got any questions, please get in touch. Very glad to do live demos. If people want them, you can book them through the website. That's it, www.garagemasteronline.com.